This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday, January 13th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, congressional Democrats pushing ahead with their move to impeach President Donald Trump for a second time. Now, a few Republicans in the House say they will go along. Now, another major big tech company takes action against the president. This time, it's YouTube, as the debate over big tech censorship grows. As the move ramps up for the coronavirus vaccinations around the country, many people still don't want the vaccine. But if you don't, could you be forced to get it? We're going to take a look at that question. And a unique look behind the scenes at the violence on Capitol Hill a week ago today, as a CBN employee was there praying for those caught up in the chaos. All those stories and more are ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with the congressional Democrats' plan to move forward with impeaching President Donald Trump for a second time. At least 5 and possibly up to a dozen Republicans have signaled they will vote in support of the effort. This comes after Vice President Mike Pence indicated he will not invoke the 25th Amendment. Caitlin Burke is on the story.
The House is ready to move forward with impeachment today after passing a resolution last night calling on Vice President Pence to remove the president from office by invoking the 25th Amendment, a choice Pence has made clear he will not make.
In a letter sent to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Pence said, quote, "Last week, I did not yield to the pressure to exert power beyond my constitutional authority to determine the outcome of the election. And I will not now yield to efforts in the House of Representatives to play political games at a time so serious in the life of our nation." House Democrats now plan to move to impeach Trump. If successful, it would make him the only president in U.S. history to be impeached twice. At least 5 House Republicans plan to vote to impeach the president, possibly up to a dozen, including Liz Cheney, the third highest-ranking GOP lawmaker in the House. In a statement, she said, quote, "The President of the United States summoned this mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack," adding, "There has never been a greater betrayal by a President of the United States of his office and his oath to the Constitution."
Impeachment only incites more division. It does not provide unity.
President Trump, meanwhile, is not taking any responsibility for the attack on the Capitol.
So if you read my speech, and many people have done it, and I've seen it both in the papers and in the media, on television, it's been analyzed, and people thought that what I said was totally appropriate.
According to the Washington Post, the FBI issued a warning a day before rioters stormed the Capitol that violent extremists were headed to Washington, prepared to commit acts of violence and, quote, war. Acting Attorney General Jeff Rosen says no resources will be spared in protecting the public in the days to come. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
YouTube will not let President Trump's channel upload new videos for at least 7 days. The site said it was taking action over concerns about the ongoing potential for violence following last week's riot on Capitol Hill. YouTube did not specifically say what video led to the decision. The firm also suspended comments on the channel indefinitely. YouTube, which is owned by Google, is the latest major big tech firm to take action against the president after Twitter permanently suspended his account. That move has been criticized by international leaders in Germany, France, and Mexico, and many in the U.S. who are worried about big tech censoring conservative voices. A Georgia school threatened to arrest a student for sharing his faith on campus back in 2016. After that threat, he and another student sued the school, Gwinnett College. The case was eventually dropped because Gwinnett ended its restrictive speech policy, so the college didn't have to pay for the damage it did. But as Paul Strand explains, arguments over a lack of accountability and justice resulted in the Supreme Court taking up this issue.
Since Georgia Gwinnett College stopped blocking speech after it was sued, it argued before the Supreme Court it shouldn't be penalized.
The way that this case was resolved is a good thing. Litigation prompted college officials to review their policies and just 10 weeks later to revise them in a way that maximized and respected First Amendment rights on campus, not just for petitioners, but for all students.
But the other side maintains that by not punishing the college,
it results in the government walking away from past harms that they caused.
I want to love people with sharing the greatest news in the world.
as a student in question, Chike Uzebunam, said in a video about the case,
I have to ask your permission to exercise my First Amendment rights. That's not freedom of speech.
A college says, you can't pray here, young student, and imagine that policy is unconstitutional. And suppose he was stopped from praying. What's the damage? Can you say there was no damage? There was.
During a virtual news conference, the attorney arguing Chike's case said 90% of colleges have restrictive speech policies and students need a weapon to fight back.
The Supreme Court has rightly said in the past that government officials must make amends when they violate someone's constitutional rights.
The court will likely rule this spring. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Coming up, while many are hoping to get the COVID vaccine, many are not. But could they be forced to get the shot? It might happen, and we're going to explain how when we come back. Stay with us.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Nepali Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m.
Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
Despite the spread of the coronavirus, governors and local officials in hard-hit parts of the country are resisting putting new lockdown measures in place. And now Democrats are also against forced closings and other measures. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is pushing states to quickly start giving coronavirus vaccinations to people 65 and older and younger people with certain health care problems. It is part of a move to slow the rapid spread of the virus as the death toll keeps climbing. New locations for mass vaccinations like football fields and baseball parks are opening up around the country. But red tape and staffing shortages have meant some states have been slow in getting the shot delivered to people, even though they've already gotten the vaccines. Across the country, Americans are waiting in long lines to get the COVID vaccine, but not everyone is eager to take the shot. In fact, up to half of Americans don't want it. But could you be forced to take it? What if it meant you'd be fined or forbidden to travel or even denied work? Dale Hurd has a look at those scenarios.
The COVID-19 vaccine has arrived, and some are applauding it, but some are not. Half of Americans say they don't want to get the vaccine, according to a December poll, although more recent polling shows more might be willing to get it now. But Republicans are nearly twice as likely as Democrats to not want the vaccine.
I think the vaccine is a great thing for people who are really scared about the virus, and if they want to take the vaccine because they feel like they're going to be safe from it, then by all means do it. But me personally, I'm okay.
I am not worried about the coronavirus. No. As a matter of fact, I'd rather get it over with, you know. I might have already had it already.
But what if you don't have a choice whether to get the vaccine or not? Could the government force you to get a COVID vaccine? That depends on your definition of force. In the landmark case Jacobson versus Massachusetts in 1905, the Supreme Court ruled that the city of Cambridge, Massachusetts could fine residents who refused to receive smallpox vaccinations. Dr. Bradley Jacob is a constitutional law expert at Regent University.
The court did not rule that the government can hold you down on a table and force a syringe into your arm even if you refuse. They simply said people who choose not to get the vaccine might have to pay a fine.
But businesses and schools can require vaccinations of employees, customers, and students.
There's a big difference between what the government can do and what a private business or private party can do. An employer can force you to vaccinate and say, if you want to come to our workplace, do this job, you have to get a vaccination. A public school can require the students to vaccinate. They already do require lots of vaccinations.
But some of America's largest businesses say they will only encourage employees to get vaccinated in order to respect personal beliefs and to avoid medical liability if an employee is injured by the vaccine. But it's looking more and more likely that if you want to travel, especially internationally, you will have to get the vaccine.
We are looking at changing our terms and conditions to say for international travelers that we will ask people to have a vaccination before they can get on the aircraft.
The airlines are testing an app called Common Pass, which would show whether a traveler has been vaccinated. It was developed by the World Economic Forum, the same people who are pushing the Great Reset. If you don't need the vaccine to work or to travel and you're considered low risk, some are asking if it's wise to take a new vaccine for an illness with about a 99% survival rate for most people, according to CDC statistics. Silicon Valley technologist Enon Weiss has become a leading authority on COVID-19 and says he won't be first in line to get this vaccine, saying there aren't enough studies about possible long-term complications.
If somebody is very vulnerable, I can see why they would be eager for the vaccine. But for people who are low risk, I would like to see some long-term data on the vaccine.
And you won't be able to sue Pfizer or Moderna if you're damaged by the vaccine. They've been given total immunity from liability. And Weiss wonders if we'll have to be vaccinated again when the next coronavirus comes along.
People call this a once-in-a-century pandemic, but it's really not. Based on the numbers, it's a once-a-generation event. Because we've had other pandemics, but for whatever reason, society didn't decide to shut down the world over it.
The lockdowns have already sparked violent protest in Europe and Great Britain, and any attempt by governments to force citizens to get vaccinated will likely spark even more. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Still ahead, see why a story of forgiveness is trending at #1 on the streaming platforms. We're going to let you meet the family of filmmakers behind The Last Champion. We've got the story for you when we come back.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible,
yes,
Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Get Protect Your Sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
A Story of Forgiveness is trending at #1 on many of its streaming platforms. Here's the film's premise. He's a scandal-ridden former Olympian forced to return home by the death of his mother. And when he gets there, he must face a hometown that has not forgiven him. Here's a look at The Last Champion and our chat with the film's creators.
Junior high champion John Wright, he hasn't lost this year. John Wright is dominating at these Olympic trials.
You got a lot of guts showing your face around here. I was hoping to get a loan. I can't lend money on a mortgage that's 24 months in default. Legally, you can't foreclose. I can do anything I want. You're not the star here anymore.
Is it safe to say that this film is a family affair?
It is safe to say that, yes.
Yeah. And there's a member of our team that's not here today, but our daughter, Ivy with Roe, co-writes with us.
You worked so hard for these. Please don't throw them away.
I don't even know who this person is anymore.
I know him.
I think there's an opportunity for you to do the right thing for this town, and I can help you find a way out of your mess. By coaching the team. That's right.
How did this story come to your family?
We said we really wanted to do a redemptive piece. We wanted to do a comeback story, a hero story, and that's really how where the genesis of this was.
Here, all right? I get down and then move.
Why was this an important story to tell now?
When we wrote it, there was a different world we were living in.
Yeah.
The odd thing is that this happens to be landing at a time when there's so much heartbreak and so much division right now, and this movie is about forgiveness and love and community, and it just happens to, be landing particularly poignantly at this moment.
And also, I think why it's really relevant now is a lot of what's going on, it seems hopeless out there, and it will never come together. And I think this has got a great message of hope.
Oh, double leg again! Oh man, it's 11-10 now. As I'm watching the film, I kept going back and trying to find this story. It's like, whose life is this based on? Who did this happen to? That's how real it felt watching it.
I think we wanted to be like an everyman story too, or every woman, but it just happens to be this guy is the one we center the story around. But just that inability to function because you feel so ashamed and you're carrying this regret and you don't know what to do with it, and it just sort of defined his life for many, many years until he had to just finally break open and face his demons and face the past. And we wanted to keep the messages as broad as we could so anybody could feel that I know someone like that or I have felt like that. You know what I'm saying?
We wanted to keep it very, with all the characters, really three-dimensional, very authentic.
Life's weird, huh? Yeah. It can be a tough opponent, for sure.
It was very meaningful for us to get the story right, because I think it represents a lot of what people are feeling right now. And I think there's a lot of despair, and I think this can really, if we can take somebody away for 2 hours and not be about themselves or not be about politics or not be about anything else except let's watch this sort of inspirational story that we've done our job.
What's your hope for the film as we sit for the world to get ready to receive it?
I feel like I just would love if people are feeling hopeless and that they have gotten into some sort of place or somebody knows somebody who's without any hope and that if they saw this movie they could find hope. Like that would be, I mean, to touch hearts that way would be remarkable.
Panthers on 3. 1, 2, 3. Panthers!
And you can find The Last Champion on multiple streaming platforms right now. For more uplifting entertainment, be sure to catch an all-new Studio 5 tonight. We're going to introduce you to a singing pastor, Matthew Stevenson, and we have a look at the true story on the big screen now. It's Disney's film called Safety. You can catch Studio 5 tonight at 8:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. Coming up, 1 week ago today, violence by pro-Trump protesters broke out on Capitol Hill and in Congress, leading to the second impeachment of the president. But behind the scenes, a CBN photojournalist was praying for those caught in the chaos. We're going to bring you his story when we come back. Stay with us.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
Welcome back. 1 week ago today, Trump protesters stormed Capitol Hill. CBN News photojournalist Mario Gonzalez was there for a pre-scheduled interview with a member of Congress. The interview didn't happen, and instead chaos broke out, and Mario turned to prayer for those on the scene. John Jessup had Mario to walk him through that day and tell us what it was like.
You were up on Capitol Hill way early Wednesday morning. Can you describe the scene?
Because we knew that it was going to be a big day, I had to get there early. So I got there at about 4:45 in the morning, just hoping and praying that there was a spot available. Some of the other cameramen on the location were kind of giggling and laughing at me as I walked up with all my gear. Like, you're number 5, we're having to turn away.
He thought about setting up at an outdoor location for media.
And I was like, no, it's going to be too cold.
But instead took a gamble.
I think I'm going to ask for forgiveness and park right here. And so that's what I did.
A decision with divine implications for his protection and spiritual intervention. Mario eventually made his way to the Capitol building.
You could easily start to feel the atmosphere kind of change, that, okay, this can potentially become a major news story. So the cameraman in me, the journalist in me was like, okay, let me try to figure out a way how to get out there to go see what's going on. So that's when I started to make my moves. So I get up the escalators, and my first view is a Capitol police officer sitting down on a chair and medical staff attending to him. And they're cleaning out his eyes. I immediately changed. I went from journalist to prayer warrior. And I got up the escalator and I saw maybe around six Capitol police officers being attended to by medical staff. And my heart just sunk. And so I'm there, I'm looking at these police officers, and I just started to pray.
A response that captures Mario's heart and mentality. He saw other officers hurt and started to pray for them, but was confronted.
Police officer ran up towards me, no filming, no photos. And I'm not. He's like, I said, I'm here to pray. And he was like, what? I was like, I'm here to pray. I want to pray. Thank you.
You and your coworker, Abigail Robertson, who covered Capitol Hill, you both see this as a mission, not just an assignment, but a mission.
We do. This is an opportunity that not very many photographers get, and that this ministry has trusted me with the responsibility to capture what takes place at this location is a great honor.
Did you allow your mind to wander and think the worst?
No.
Why is that?
Well, my time living in Israel, I think prepared me for moments like this, where you learn to keep your head on a swivel and you learn to be prayed up. I think that God's given me the grace to walk this out, to be in a place like this during a time like this, to be able to handle myself professionally and that's the way I should.
Many of the photos in that interview that you saw there were actually taken by Mario himself. To see more of his images from that day, simply visit CBN News' Instagram page @CBN News. It is time for your Wednesday Word, and today's word is vision. Vision is God's view of your life. Seek Him for how He sees it, and then write it down so you can see it until you see it. Sight is what you see when your eyes are open, but vision is what you see when your eyes are closed in prayer. So close your eyes and see what God sees. With that word, I encourage you to make today a wonderful Wednesday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. I want to remind you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Again, I encourage you to make this a wonderful Wednesday, and be sure to do that on purpose. Goodbye, everybody. God bless.